continue the work of the merry pranksters in the Brotherhood of Eternal Love. He has a Hogwarts PhD in tripping balls and making mushroom brews. That's right, it's the immortal Transylvanian Count himself, Mathieu Saint Germain.
Hi, everybody. Mathieu Saint Germain, acolyte of Dolphin Jesus. If you want to find out about him, ask me sometime. My story today is some more science. A new peer-reviewed study came out that shows that smoking cannabis is not associated with impaired lung functioning. Smoking cannabis was not associated with impaired lung functioning for young adults in a new longitudinal study published in Respiratory Medicine. The new study from researchers at the University of Queensland in Australia examined whether chronic cannabis use was associated with damaging effects on the lung of young adults specifically. To investigate this, researchers followed a cohort of 1,173 young adults from ages 21 until they reached age 30, testing their lung functions using a spirometry assessment. I'm having trouble with my face today. At the beginning and end of the 9-year period, spirometry tests are commonly used to help to diagnose lung conditions like asthma, COPD. It's the thing where you blow and you have to keep the ball a certain height in the tube with your lung power. Researchers also tracked whether the members of the cohort smoked cannabis, tobacco, both, or nothing over the 9 years. This was done using questionnaires at age 21 and 30 when the lung function tests were also performed. Afterwards, researchers analyzed the data to see whether cannabis smoking over that 9 years had reduced lung function. The results showed the expected association between tobacco smokers and reduced airflow. Those who smoked cigarettes alone or cigarettes with cannabis had reductions in their airflow over the 9-year period. Cannabis did not add to these reductions over and above what was already found for tobacco-only smokers. But perhaps surprisingly, in light of the recent findings on cannabis and emphysema, smoking cannabis alone did not reduce airflow or seem to impact lung functioning. Even after 9 years of use, cannabis smoke exposure did not seem to impact the lungs. The authors concluded that cannabis does not appear to be related to lung function even after years of use. They also concluded that using cannabis with tobacco doesn't seem to add any additional risk to the lungs beyond the harms already associated with smoking tobacco. In contrast, the respiratory medicine study did study cannabis-only smokers and found no differences, once again, from the non-smoking group. The study in radiology also used a relatively small sample size of only 146 patients, which was compared, that was the emphysema study, which can be compared to the 1,173 respondents in this study that found no effects on lung function from smoking cannabis. That said, it's important to note some of the other difference between these two studies that could partly explain their seemingly conflicting results. The radiology study used a CT scan, which was actually detecting abnormalities, possibly, or mucus in the lungs, whereas this was just the spirometry. Also, the radiology study was on much older individuals who may have had much more time to damage their lungs, and again, the other study was on the youth. What this really shows is that a lot of this science is still open, and what I would posit too is, for a lot of us older smokers, we smoked weed out of any paper we could find, aluminum cans, the ground, apples, every type of plastic. And so there could be some associated lung damage for all of us idiots who were leading the way. This is Saint Germain for the High at 9 News. I'm really excited to hear what you guys have to contribute.
What about